The final answer is March 8, 2020 by Anna von Reitz. All this garbage is the result of the corruption of the Roman Catholic Church. It started when Martin Luther objected to the sale of indulgences, basically, the Church selling the right to sin for a price. Most people with a brain realized how sick this was and were, 1. Too afraid to do anything about it, or 2. Became Protestants. The Roman Catholic Church refused to admit its corruption and its errors at that point, with the result that we had the Reformation and the Counter-Reformation. And 500 years of senseless war and intrigue. His Catholic Majesty James Chapter 1 explained in detail the Counter-Reformation Plan to mischaracterize and bilk the English Protestants in his publication, The Bounty Book, which was published in tandem with the King James Bible, which was adopted as the Bible for the high seas and navigable inland waterways, while the Protestant Geneva Bible remained the Bible adopted for use on dry land. Quote James I, "It all begins with a false registration. And what do we find going on in America, but a false registration of American babies as British territorial U.S. citizens, followed by an equally false registration of American babies as municipal citizens of the United States? And what do we find but Franklin Delano Roosevelt speaking during his first inaugural speech as President of the Municipal United States, Inc., talking about holy causes and consecration of the municipal citizenry? This is all about the Roman Catholic Church still fighting against reformation, that is, against admission and confession and correction of its sins and commercial guile. We have been thrust into the middle of a clandestine religious war, with the Pope playing both sides against the middle, controlling the municipal government openly via charter, and secretively controlling the British territorial government via his use of the British monarch as overseer of the Commonwealth. The RCC is running a theocracy. Its municipal United States government, against the actual government of this country, and still pretending to be at war with the British Anglican Church, when all they are really at war with is their own sinful nature and lack of repentance for the last 500 years. I am attaching a copy of the laws passed by the Second Congress which covers adoption of the law of the sea, see especially pages 32 to 33 and 40. These explicitly state the rules that the Founding Fathers enunciated, and please note their emphasis on the true meaning, that is, that these laws were applicable to actual ships, not people redefined as vessels. Act of the Second Congress, http://annavonreitz.com/actsofthesecondcongress.pdf. The false registration of people as vessels referenced by James I as the start of the diabolical plan to bilk Protestants by shanghaiing landlubbers into the jurisdiction of the sea and prosecuting them as vessels subject to the law of the sea, is evidenced by the certificate of live birth issued by the British territorial government and then also by the municipal birth certificate. And as you can all see, it is all completely foreign, illegal, unlawful, and immoral under our actual government. Facebook readers go to www.annavonreitz.com or www.theamericanstatesassembly.net to see the acts of the Second Congress or look them up for yourselves. Okay, so all of this is both phony and calculated, and was a game known to the Founding Fathers, who were at pains to avoid it being played on our shores, or being used to subject Americans under false pretenses. So that's all well and good, but please note, that these antiquated and evil games were never anything that the Americans were subject to, even before the limited adoption of the law of the sea by the Second Congress, and certainly never applicable after the adoption of the constitutions. We are again talking about wars indulged in by foreign governments, one the theocracy of the Roman Catholic Church, and the other, the British territorial Commonwealth belonging to the Roman Catholic Church. Thus the Church, acting through the British monarch, provided itself with two sides for a conflict and deliberately with malice aforethought targeted the hapless American populace with a campaign of knowingly false registrations directed first by their lackeys running the British territorial government and secondly, by their own minions running the municipal United States government. Notice that we are not ships at sea or in dock, are not naturally subject to the law of the sea, and even if we were, we would be owed the protection of the British monarch and the full support of Her Majesty's government. And any claims that we are lost on the battlefield, orphans, illegitimate, unknown provenance, are nothing but self-interested lies. It's time that the Roman Catholic Church was exposed and brought to its knees, for a real come to Jesus meeting. Its administration has acted in gross breach of trust and violation of commercial contract with us, and our lawful government, which it has cause to know, is a government of people, not persons. And certainly not ships at sea. We are third parties, and as our government is not a theocracy, there can be no excuse for attacking us on any religious grounds. The Catholics have been protected in their religious liberty as well as everyone else on our shores and have no cause to complain. Likewise, the Muslims have been allowed their beliefs. All any of them have to do, is keep the peace and practice their religion in private. To the extent that both groups can't seem to abide by this simple arrangement and respect the rules that allow their religious freedom to be protected along with everyone else, we are open to consider a policy of deportation of Catholics and Muslims and Satanists who don't agree to the conditions of their sufferance on these shores. Anyone who wants to fight about religion or who wants to use religion as an excuse to harm others and deprive them of their property and their natural and unalienable rights, is hereby given fair warning and public notice that their activities are unlawful, illegal, and immoral, and are contrary to the actual public law of this country. All those promoting theocracy and seeking to undermine our lawful government in favor of any such foreign theocracy or commonwealth, or by any act or subterfuge seeking to entrap Americans in their private religious feuds, are subject to direct prosecution and deportation without trial. We can and will nationalize and confiscate the holdings of the Roman Catholic Church in America, and deny the tax-exempt status of all Catholic corporations, if these aforementioned practices seeking to seize upon Americans as vessels at sea do not immediately cease and desist. All recordings of birth taking place on these shores are to be referred to us, and all registrations pertaining to births in the American states are to be returned for review to ascertain actual political status. Any mosque that foments any kind of public danger or preaches hatred of anyone as a religious duty is subject to the same prohibitions. Any satanic cult is under the same regulation and requirement to obey the public law and keep the peace. This country is founded on the precept of religious freedom. This is clearly stated and advertised at the door. Anyone who doesn't agree can show their disagreement by going elsewhere. Sooner than later would be preferred.